Hello, I'm Sean from SJ Darts, and I'm going to be talking to you today about something that seems to be making waves in the sport of darts fairly recently, although they've been around longer than you think. Integrated flights and stems. Every manufacturer seems to be making their own version, all the pro players seem to have their own as well, and they all are now using them up on stage. So I went out and brought a load, so I can show you exactly what they're all about. So let's get into what we've got.
Here we have the kit that I will be reviewing. I have all the major manufacturers represented: WINMAU, Red Dragon, Target, CUESOUL, Shot and many more. I've also included a standard flight and stem setup, and I have gone for orange, short stem and size 2 flight where possible. And that is purely because that is what I use as a standard.
First up is Target's KFLEX system. These are pretty standard. They come in a nice range of colours now as well. To start with, they only came in a few, but they are now doing orange, including other colours. They're starting to do neon colours and pro players' own darts flights as well. These feel solid. I've used these for about 3 months personally in my own matches, and these are brand new, these ones, and the ones I've been using for 3 months are there. So there's not that much difference. There's a little bit of chewing on the edge, but not a great deal of damage. So these Target KFLEX, I think, feel nice and strong. The colour on these, obviously the orange colour, I think is nice and bright. I think it looks good. It's simple. There's no bobbles, there's nothing down that stem that are going to distract. I think these are a pretty good start, I think. Next up, we have the CONDOR Zero Stress. Now they're called Zero Stress because these ones are bendy. So again, I have used these ones in matches myself, and the bend, you don't really notice the bend until you hit really close darts, and then you will just see them sitting with a bend on them like that, which it can be a bit off-putting, but again, they feel nice and strong. The only thing with these ones is because they are quite soft and they are completely malleable with the actual flight, they do get a bit of chewing, as I call it, on the ends, and that can get a bit off-putting. I have heard that if you hold a lighter to them, you can melt them back into the original shape. I haven't done that myself, but for these Zero Stress, these are the lightest of the integrated stems and flights that I've got here today, by quite some way actually, but you wouldn't notice it. I think when you throw it, it doesn't feel particularly light. And I know we're only talking about a few grams, but I quite like these, and the fact that they move I think is good, especially if you're a grouper of the darts. You're not going to get any bounce outs with these because the flights are just going to move, the stems will bend, and I think you'll be pretty happy with them. They're also the cheapest as well, the cheapest out of these few that I've got here to show you. So yeah, take from that what you will. Next up, we have the Viper Diamond Core. So these were purchased from Darts Corner, and I was really disappointed in these. These are the second set of these that I've had to buy because the first lot just disintegrated on the first use. They're not as soft as the Zero Stress Condors, but there is a bit of movement in them. They're not as solid as some of the others that I've got here. But on about my 5th throw of using these, they just disintegrated, like the flight just fell off. And this was a few weeks ago when I was planning this, and I unfortunately threw them away stupidly. But even on this, this is already chipping. Now, one of the design points on this is that there is a little knobble on the bottom. You can just see it. Let's see if I can. You can just see the little knobble at the bottom of the stem. That is a design point. That is supposed to be there because it's a grip point. Now, to me, I find it really off-putting where my grip is. It just gets in the way, and I just don't like it. And the colour on these is horrendous. Let me just compare these. That's the KFLEX, the orange of the KFLEX, and these are more peach. They're almost pink in colour, and I just don't like them. I don't like the pattern up the stem either. No, they're not selling this for me. I'm sure they'll sell a few of them, but looking at the reviews on Darts Corner at the moment, they don't seem to be going down particularly well. I don't have much good to say about these, other than they're there as a backup if I ever need them. But yeah, they don't look great, and they don't feel great either. They feel cheap, and yeah, they're not nice. And these are the Shot Flight Deck. These, I think, look great. These are solid in colour rather than the clear, see-through, translucent that most of the others are. And I think these look great. When I brought them on the website, I saw them on there and I thought, they look great. They're going to, design-wise, they're going to make everything look good. But if you look up close to them, you can see, you can't actually see it on the camera particularly well. Up here, there you go, you can see it there. Can you see the black bit in the middle? And on all of them, you can see there's obviously a black bit of plastic going through the middle, and it just ruins the design so bad, because it just looks like they're not finished properly. Maybe they're not been made with enough plastic, and it's not level all the way around. So that side you can't see them, and that side you can, that side you can, that side you can't. So there's it's like they're not quite centered. And the other point of these ones is similar to the CUESOULs. There's a black ridge on the bottom there, which I fear is going to be a weak point. I would fear throwing these regularly, because I think along that edge there you are going to get a snap. That's just going to fall off of there, and especially as you can see that black bit going through the middle, it just feels to me like they've not been finished to the highest standard. Now they look great, and I like the solid colour, but could I put my darting game in their hands? Possibly. But again, they look great, but I would worry that there is going to be a weak point down here, and that there's something not quite right with that bit being shown in the middle. Now maybe this is just the set that I've got. Maybe there's something wrong with them. Maybe they're not quite centered. So Shot, if you've got, I'll give you a right of reply on this, that maybe I've got a bad batch. By all means, I'm happy for you to send me another set that haven't got that bit in the middle, and I will re-review them. But for now, there's something that doesn't look quite right with these. And here are the Red Dragon Nitro Flight. Now these don't come in orange, so that's 1 point away from you, Red Dragon. They have dark stems, so all of them have a coloured stem, so either white or black, and then a different coloured flight on top. I feel like they should spin, but they don't. Maybe they're going to make a spinning version, which I know a lot of people will like. Again, it's a weak point that I think there will be a snapping point somewhere around here that you don't necessarily need in these integrated flights and stems. Now these are joint heaviest with the CUESOULs, but they don't feel it. And I think what it is that the weight is all in this. The weight is here in the stem section, because these don't feel heavy at all. These are, I think, actually feel quite flimsy and quite breakable. They've got chips on them from the few throws I've had on them, so they seem to damage quite easily. Yeah, they are releasing more colours. I think as we speak there's about 7 different colours. As I said, orange is not one of them. So yeah, they're okay, and they feel okay when you throw them. This bit feels very light at the back, and like I say, I think the weight is all at the front here rather than at the back, whereas a lot of the others do feel quite balanced when they're thrown. That's the Red Dragon Nitro FLITE. Here we have the Mission Force 90. These are not only some of the lightest ones I'm reviewing, but also some of the cheapest. So they are $6.95 at the moment. They are very, very see-through. There's no translucency there at all. They're almost completely transparent, which some people will like. They've got quite a lot of bend to them, quite a lot of movement. They don't seem to fly great for me. When I threw them on my test throws, they felt quite light and they've moved a lot in the air, like they weren't balanced. They were too light for my darts. They've got a ridged, grippy bit on the end of the stem. So I guess if anyone does grip further back, there is that little bit of grip on there. And there's the Mission logo as well, which sticks out slightly and just gets where my finger sits at the back of my dart. So again, a bit like the Viper diamond cores, that it just annoyed me more than anything. There is only 2 of them, whereas the Viper diamond core has 4, but they're not bad. They're okay. They're cheaper if you're happy with them. Like I say, they did move quite a lot in the air when I threw them. They look okay. They're all right. They do them in a range of colours as well. They've just released a load more colours. So I think manufacturers are getting onto the fact that people don't just want black, white or clear. So yeah, the Mission Force 90s. Now we have the WINMAU Fusion. Now the colour of these is completely different in orange to the rest that we've looked at. Just to compare for you, that's the KFLEX and the diamond core, and that is the Fusion. So the colour is a proper deep orange. They are middle of weight and middle of price out of all of these. The design on them is, so the stem thins in the middle, and I do feel like I mean they are solid, but I do feel like they could bend and snap very easily. It does feel like there's a weak point. And also on all of these ones, which I haven't noticed on any of the others that I've reviewed, there is just the maker's marking. So like the injection moulding on the very end of each of these, and all 3 of them have got it, and it just sits right on where the join is to your dart. And for me, it got quite annoying because, as I've said, I grip at the back, and just where that finger sits, there is a little notch on the plastic, which isn't great. It's obviously not been finished properly in a machine. Maybe I've got a bad batch again. WINMAU, I'm more than happy to eat my words if this is a bad batch, but there's just a little bobble in just the wrong place, which I know you're going to get with these injection mouldings, but it doesn't look great and it doesn't feel great when this is your prime time thing that you're trying to sell. So yeah, there's points away for that, but I would have to say these are okay. They're not bad as an integrated flight and stem, and I'm sure with WINMAU players starting to use them, and there'll be more designs coming soon, I think they're going to sell well. And now we have the CUESOUL ROST. These are the most expensive of the flights and stems that I'm testing today. These are, now I don't know if you can see that, but these flights are very, you can see my finger through there. They are really, really light. They're malleable, they move, and they also chip as well. So I've only used these for the throws that I've done for this video, and on the first throw you can see I've got a dink straight out of that top flight, which my darts do not have particularly pointy edges when it comes to the front of the dart. They look nice, I'll give them that, they do look nice, but I also fear that this bit along here, this where it goes from grey to orange, there will be a snap there eventually. I think that's going to be a very much a weak point, and I do worry that if you were to use these regularly, you would get a snap. Now, don't get me wrong, to look at them, I do like the design. They do feel nice, and they do throw okay as well. They don't feel heavy on the dart. They are one of the heavier ones that I've got. They're okay. I think I would use them in a match. I think they look quite good. But they are more expensive than any others. Are they worth the extra £3 or £4? That's down to you whether you want design over function. But yeah, that's the CUESOUL ROST. So just for comparison, I have thrown in just a regular FLITE and stem setup, a short stem with a standard #2 FLITE, just mimicking exactly what we've got. The weight is here, the price obviously is a lot lower. If you want to carry on using them, there is no reason why you can't, and they will be around forever. They're not going anywhere. But I know a lot of people don't like the rings in the middle, they don't like getting Robin Hoods, they don't like the fact that the stems break out, so they are looking for integrated FLITE and stem systems. So I just wanted to show you these are included. So they are all our options for integrated FLITEs and stems. So I know what you're going to ask me, which one's the best? There's so many different things to go for when you're looking for the best, but I'll give you two. These are my two favorites out of the 9 that I've looked at. The CONDOR Zero Stress, because they are the cheapest. They are malleable, so they move with when you get perfectly grouped shots, and also the Target KFLEX, purely because there is a nice range. They are solid. They're not that much more expensive. There's pro players are using them, pro players are endorsing them, so you can get your own pro players' favorite flights. So these two are the two that I would say are the two to go for, but everyone's dart setup is different depending on whether you need long stems, short stems, intermediate stems. They will be different. So what I would suggest is getting down to your local dart shop and asking if you can give them a go. I know my local dart shop will allow you to try a set of each of them because they are something new. You don't want to invest in something that's not going to work for you. So head down there, or if you see someone when you're out playing darts, ask them if you can have a go. I've had a few people come over and ask me, since using the KFLEX, if they can just have a look at them, and I've happily said, go and have a throw, put them on your darts, see if you like them, because a lot of people want to try them. They don't want to spend £9 on a setup that they might not like, so help each other out, let everybody have a go. But the KFLEX and the CONDOR Zero Stress are my two out of these. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope you found it informative. If you have any questions, by all means pop them in the comments and I will endeavour to answer them. Go out, try your own, let me know what setup you end up with, and for more darts content, information and tips, head to sjdarts.com.